Coming up next on RaceSpot TV and iRacing Live, it's Monday Night Skippys, round number 6, and we head to Brazil for Interlagos. Join us in just a few moments' time.
Watch Ernie, go, go, go. Car right, car right, car right, car right. Watch him, watch him, watch him, watch him. Damn it! Get ready. Dude, more heads up than that. Jeez.
Right on the back wing. Can he make it happen?
Yes! Yes! Push like hell. We gotta stay in front of these guys.
Both drivers on the push to pass. Contact in the pit lane.
All right, 60. Let that eagle fly. What do I do? What happened? Push here. Push hard. Let's go get this guy. Car outside. Room behind you. Control. Clear outside. Good job. Just spun behind you. I don't know if you got him or not.
He got out of it so hard. Look at these guys are all over the back.
Full throttle.
IndyCar. The in and out lap. What's next?
Come and get the checkers, big boy. Oh, baby, that was good. He hit me. Inside, inside, outside, inside, outside.
2017 Verizon IndyCar Series. See what's next.
Good evening, and welcome once again to Monday Night Skippys here on RaceSpot TV. Rachel Whiteford and Conor Maddock joining you as always, and for a special guest appearance, we'll be having snippets of sarcasm provided to you by the one, the only Will Vincent. Tonight, Interlagos is our track, week number 6, and well, the points are looking interesting finally. It's taken us 6 rounds to get here, but we now are at a point where we get to see the season progressing. This is the halfway point, let's not forget, and we'll show you those positions right now. Benny Simonson, top spot, hard to beat. The only man so far to get 2 wins this season. Big impressive job last time out, of course. As you see there, 91 points for him, 81 for Gareth Dorning. Bill Fraser in 3rd on 76, 75 for Tom Ward. He's closing back in 5th place. Stuart Adcock not to be outdone. Some good names there in the rest of the top 10. We've got Halliburton, Newcomer, Leach, Plumley, Marsden, Williams. Connery, it's going to be a great season so far. It's been great to date, and well, I'm not Dr. Seuss, but I think we're going to have a race.
Yep, I definitely think we are. And that championship fight is still very, very tight halfway through the season. Just 10 points between your top spot, Benny Simonson and Gareth Dorning. And then if you look down towards P3 and P4, Bill Fraser, Tom Ward. Tom Ward's only 1 point behind Bill Fraser right there. So it's important for him to gain positions during the course of this race. He has, well, he's only got himself P4 in qualifying at the moment. So not the usual P1 or 2 that we see for him. But a good qualifying effort for Gareth Dorning as well. Puts himself on the front row.
Certainly does. And quick look at the weather. 70 degrees. It's on the cooler side today. Track temperature is about 79 Fahrenheit. Winds are northwest 7 and about 7 miles an hour. Humidity is low, about 40%. So that's a different effect for us today. But let's not forget, Interlagos is quite high up. And we'll bring Will in, because we're not letting him talk yet. And Will's itching to get his microphone out. Will, Interlagos, Skip Barbers, probably one of the classic combinations.
Yeah, high altitude, you just mentioned that. That's going to be important because that means that it's harder in the air and the engine. That will mean that we're more likely to see a lot more passing than what we see at certain racetracks. And again, you got the classic opportunities, Center S, turn 4.
We certainly do. Of course, Center S, and of course down into Desadia del Lago is one of our favourite passing spots. Turn number 4 down at the bottom of the Retta Aposta before they climb up towards Ferradura. That's the big right-hander, the fast right at the top of the hill after they come around the first sector. Now, Interlagos, well, it's always proven tricky, and as we mentioned, the temperatures, it could mean that we do see engines blowing. Qualifying is complete, though. We are able to go to our starting grid. First place tonight, once again, after his second win this season, Benny Simonson on the top spot. Gareth Dorning behind him, Ken Halliburton in third with Tom Ward in fourth, just like his point standing, and Stuart Adcock in his point standing in fifth. So apart from Ken Halliburton swapping out with Bill Fraser, that's almost our points. Behind Adcock, it's Leach, Fraser, Plumley, Williams and Hefford in 10th place, and a good start for him. 11th place, James A. Barrington, Neil Bontemps, Brian Loynes, Demo Harding, Mark Mercer. Wow, Mark Mercer making a return to Monday Night Skippies, folks. You saw it here first. Matt Cox, Josh Thompson, Paul Thurston, Patrick Fairbanks and Simon Maltby. I'll take a break for just a quick second. Will, you and me used to cover this series back in the day. Mark Mercer is back.
It's been a long time. But yeah, that's going to be fun, actually. And also, he's right in the thick of it as well.
Yeah, he really is, and this is something that's going to be fantastic to see. We've seen a few names come back from the past, but none quite as significant as Mark Mercer. We'll see what impact he can have in this one as we wait for the final few moments before we go to that green flag here to start round number 6. We'll have 13 laps around this track. About 1 minute 48 lap time in Connery, really quick. Today, this could be Engine Pop City. We've not seen that this season much. Is it time?
Yeah, well, we said it at some point, but then it ended up being the case that the engines were actually okay during the course of that race. So you can never really tell, but it's of course a thing that does happen in these skip barber machines. They can get a little bit hot if you stick in the draft for a bit too long.
They certainly can. And well, the green flag will be about to fly for round number 6 of Monday Night Skippies, brought to you by RaceSpot TV and Calm. Engines will rev. Benny Simonson on that front row there with Gareth Dorning. Green flag will fly. We're racing here at Interlagos. And it's a treacherous run towards turn 1 and the center S is for the first time with a full field of cars. The entire front of your field for the top 6 cars there. Single file already for the run, but it's an early move by Tom Ward up the inside there of Halliburton, who lets him have it very sensibly. 2, 3, 4 wide further back. That's not going to end too well for those guys, although they just about survive. Surprisingly, for once, as everyone gets through in one piece. I think I'm actually shocked, Connery.
Yeah, but it looks like a very, very clean start for all of your drivers out there as they head 2 and maybe 3 wide, coming down the Retta Aposta here. Battle at the front of the field, or at least near the front of the field. This is going to be Robert Plumley and Andrew S. Leach. The 147 just getting past the 502 right there. Robert Plumley has made up a couple of positions already in just a couple of corners, so a good start from him. Will Clark Williams look to make the move on Andrew S. Leach coming up into Ferradura? No, he's just going to sit in line as we actually already have a 6-car breakaway at the front.
So you do, the first 6 cars really heading off there, and I think, well, that is one of the few times we've really seen a clean first run through the center S's in any sort of race at this track, but there's still plenty, about 12 more times past for us to be proven wrong. Yeah,
and actually they've been really clean in the infield section. Just as we say that, actually, we have got one car who's just decided to do a little bit of rallycross driving. I believe that might be Geoff Cox, actually, but for the most part, except for him, really clean start to this motor race.
Yes, it really was, and surprisingly so, actually, which is probably saying less than I really should about these guys. These are some fantastic Skippy drivers. A lot to say about the likes of Bill Fraser, who's dramatically improved the last couple of seasons. Same going, of course, for the likes of Andrew S. Leach, who's found some real legs, Connery, so far. That performance he's had in this season and the previous one have been phenomenal for him, a formerly mid-pack driver. And for those guys who sit at the back of the pack now, this is one of those times when to remember, one day they'll be in the top 10.
Yep, exactly. The likes of Andrew S. Leach as well, also up there. Gareth Dorning, Kane Halliburton, Robert Plumley also getting himself up there as well. As we just saw a little bit of position, well, almost position swap there coming down into the center S's. There's between Gareth Dorning and Tom Ward as these guys still line up coming down the Retta Aposta. Looking back through the field though, it's still relatively single file most of the way. There's a battle going on for what is going to be P number 22 between Ashley Blake Hood and Nick Sigley coming down the Retta Aposta.
So he has a challenge for the lead there with Gareth Dorning just overshooting it on Benny Simonson, but Tom Ward wasting no time already in moving his way up to second place through turn 5 on the way up towards Ferradura here, and it's going to be, was nearly there 3 wide as Ken Halliburton gets past Dorning as well, moving himself up to the 3rd spot here. Look a bit further back in that second grouping, Plumley making his way forwards there. He's currently up in about the 6th or 7th spot behind Bill Fraser there, fighting with Andrea Leach. Clark Williams also making his way forwards. Neil Bontemps moving his way up now into the top 10. A little bit down your order. We'll have a quick look at where Mark Mercer is. Oh, started in 15th, still in 15th. We perhaps expected a tiny bit more, but he could be a tad rusty there, Will.
Yeah, and what we can do is actually go back to think about where Mark Mercer was when he left the series and the development actually that we've seen since then. And, you know, these guys have really stepped up, and I always see UK&I and Monday Night Skippies as one of the things they do in preparation for things like the World Cup. And actually, the talent level has increased so much, I would argue, in the time that he's been away.
That's certainly something you could say. Is behind him Matt Cox, one of the Apex drivers, was about to make a move there on him. That's not Matt Cox, actually. I think that's Josh Tomlinson. It is. It's Josh Tomlinson there making that move on Mark Mercer up the inside for turn number 1. There's a bit of a concertina happens just ahead of them there with Loynes, Barrington and Bontemps. Bit of a slide there by Thompson. He gets his way through and makes it happen. Mercer might get a chance for a cutback, but not going to have this overspeed he needed. Car up ahead of him, that's Brian Loynes there, the yellow and red. As we look towards the race lead, Will has it there as it's once again a defensive line taken by Simonson, fighting off Tom Ward. Gets it done, but a good overspeed here by Ward. Can he slot up the inside for 5? He does. Will he clear him in time though for up towards Ferradura? Simonson should have the inside line here. Will be nice and easy to defend for him as he runs through the fast right. Never an easy opportunity to pass around the outside of Ferradura, Connery, as he'll have to try and look for a dive in the braking zone, backs off. With this close following, Connery, this is what we normally see when we talk about danger for Skip Barber engines. The difficulty cooling their engines off, and it's running in packs like this that does it.
Yeah, exactly. So your drivers have to be very, very careful of that oil temperatures. They get themselves through the middle sector. On the run down towards Magulio here for the front of your field, they're all going to stay single file. And then the second pack is going to be Steve Hefford heading up that second pack. And then Clark Williams and Neil Bontemps behind. And there's also a battle between Mark Mercer and Brian Loynes this time. And Loynes not going to make the dive bomb coming down into Zhongshao. He's going to maybe look at it coming down into turn 1 instead.
Certainly could do, of course, as well. Have a quick look back towards the leaders. Tom Ward will once again get a big run on Simonson, and will go for his customary pass up towards turn number 1. Has the inside line there on Simonson and will make it through very easily. Perhaps a little too easily. A very defensive line early on as he swoops back across to take a normal racing line. But look at this. Gareth Dorning had a quick peek at Benny. Won't go for it. Benny follows Ward now with a very good early lift there as he goes down this S's, not to get into the back of Ward. Gives him the best run off this sequence of S's, Will. And look at that. Big overspeed for Benny. No problem. Back he goes.
Yeah, and he'll weave himself back down to the inside, in towards that 4th corner. What actually I was paying attention to, though, was how early Tom Ward got that pass done. He was way before the start-finish line. And in a situation like this, Rachel, actually, that's the thing we need to be thinking of.
Oh, well, sorry, Will. 3 wide here with Hefford, who's managed to get himself involved in this group here. With him, Bontemps, Tomlinson and Mercer now getting involved in this group as well. Mercer proving he may not have the speed of some of the front guys at the moment, but my gosh, still has that racecraft we expect from him. He's been weaving that car through heavy traffic here towards the bottom end of your top 10. Oh, contact there with one car. Thompson goes up the inside and contact with Mercer. Oh, big congestion there as they ran through turn number 8 of the track. Of course, that is the Laryngina. I think I've just mispronounced that one. It sounds like laryngitis, but we'll leave it there for now. There's a 101 car there of Neil Bontemps. Just, well, no, Mercer came across on him, actually. Just talked about how good his racecraft was, and he hits Bontemps.
Yep, exactly. And the racing spotter will be saying there's a car on your right-hand side there, and it didn't seem like Mark Mercer really got the memo there that Neil Bontemps placed his car there, just punting him across the corner there, and actually he'll just be on his way right now. Battle going on between Kane Halbert, and Halbert's actually going to head his way down towards pit road. That's very, very strange indeed. And that was just Robert Plumley and Bill Fraser to head their way through. Does Kane Halbert have damage? Yes, he does, especially to the rear wing and the front wing. So not a very good, well, not a very healthy car there for Kane Halbert, and has to head his way down pit road, take that fast repair.
Should be a quick stop for him though. Should be literally in, get that car swapped out and back out again. Formula E type pit stop for him as he gets going once again. It should come out somewhere down just back in your mid-pack region here, about 15th, 16th place actually. I think he's around the likes, no, he's actually behind them. He's down in the kind of bottom 20s actually. He's coming down around Tim Adcock, 24th place there. Where will he slot out? Right into this group of traffic here, and it's already 3 wide there with Halliburton, nearly 4 wide. Oh, nearly gets run into there by one of the yellow cars. Oh wow, did you see Adcock go through the middle of that one? I don't quite know what to make of that one, Connery, because Tim Adcock shot the gap somewhat.
Speechless, and quite rightly so there, Rachel. That was a very overly optimistic move. One of the most optimistic moves I've seen. Maybe his brake pedal somehow malfunctioned, because it didn't seem like he slowed down at all for that turn, making it 4 wide, coming down onto the end of the straight. Luckily, there was only a little bit of contact between the cars there, but that could have been much, much uglier than it was.
Yeah, I think Will, at that particular moment, his pants also malfunctioned.
I'm fine. I did 6 hours.
It's not yours.
Yeah.
We'll move back to the race lead, where Tom Ward is once again dropped back behind here, the car of Benny Simonson. Benny has made the pass, but Ward has now found himself in a position where he's not quite able to make that pass happen just as early. And this is where we talk about the simulation for the end of the race and getting across that line in front. Where do you make the pass happen? And although Ward made a very late pass that time by, it wasn't early enough to get across the line. As we'll see Simonson get a great run again here through the S's and onto Curva de Sol. Down the Retro Posta, a huge run for him, and he'll use it straight away, no question at this stage, but very easily done. Here comes Gareth Dorning as well. Can he make his way through on Tom Ward? That could be a real buffer that Simonson needs. Is he going to look at the inside? He goes for it. He'll hold with him. Nicely positioned by Dorning. Very optimistic but measured move there, as he won't get it done in the 4 and 5 corners. Up towards Ferradura. Can he make something happen? Can he hold it at the outside? Or it looks like with the positioning, he'll drop back in line. Does just that, Connery. And it's still those same 4 cars. Bill Fraser has dropped back a tiny bit. He's behind Plumley now, with Andreas Leach in that threesome behind our front group of 4. Adcock holding on and waiting here. I think with the amount of passing we're seeing, could be something happens perhaps in terms of engines. Benny has spent more time out front in clean air. Tom could be getting nervous.
Yeah, exactly. And Gareth Dorning and Stuart Adcock could be a kind of nervous as well, as they haven't spent as much time as Benny Simonson up front as behind Seymour
Connery,
Harding.
Problems. Back in the second group here with Brian Loyne, Simon Maltby, and I believe the car ahead of them was Luke Redgrave, was one of the ones involved in this. It was Redgrave and Bontemps there, down through the section of track known as Pinarino, getting side by side, and a bit of touching went on, and don't think anyone gave consent, because someone ended up getting very loose and spinning off the racetrack. That was, I believe, Bontemps in that situation. It wasn't Bontemps, actually. It was actually Harding. So, yes, we'll get that one right eventually as we look for numbers furiously on the side of these cars. That's him down and out of the course for now. He's actually had to get that vehicle towed back to pit road. Back to the front. Simonson ahead of Ward with Dorning and Adcock. No change, of course, in that group. Fraser's gotten back past Plumley, so show him up into the 5th spot. And Mark Mercer in 8th place here from qualifying in 15th, weaving his way through this traffic, followed as well by Steve Hefford right on his rear wing. Blocked off there by Josh Thompson, very aggressive as he tries to make room for himself. This is old school Skippy racing here. They're poking and shoving, and well, this is more like touring car racing. I wouldn't try and pull that with Steve Hefford. He knows that a little too well.
Yeah, exactly. And so Mark Mercer basically bump drafting Josh Thompson all the way down the Retro Posta. Still going to be side-by-side 2 cars deep coming into Ferradura. Steve Hefford will put his car on the inside line, force Mark Mercer to hang it around the outside. Mark Mercer will have to give up the position there. Maybe try to dive down into the right-hander. He will go for the move, and he makes his stick there, or does he? A little bit of maybe wheel-to-wheel contact, but then the advantage switches to Steve Hefford, and he will actually hold the position there. Meanwhile, there's James A. Barrington. Maybe he's looking for a move on Mark Mercer. Will he sling one down the inside? No, he's going to be a little bit too far back, but this is actually fantastic fighting just inside your top 10.
Certainly is, and Will, I can imagine behind that helmet there is a massive grin on both faces of Mark Mercer and Steve Hefford. Those 2 drivers absolutely loving this. It's respect. There is contact, but there is respect in that fight.
at the point that they exited the Curve of the Soul, you could just see Mark Mercer just twitching his wheel as they ended up having that contact as it got blocked off, but all the way down that straightaway, and you're going to see exactly the same thing now as they head themselves down through the final corner towards the start-finish line. Mercer is literally alongside. There's not a lane between them. There's inches between them as they come down in towards one.
They've both worked out exactly how much room they need to give as Hefford goes for a big slide on the inside, locks his brakes, and might lose some time there as behind him Mercer gets a good clean run through the S's here. We'll have a run down the Retta Aposta as they come out to Curve de Sol. Will we see another bit of action? We did see some rather aggressive blocking from Josh Thompson recently. Hefford goes for a move. Thompson starts to drift out, but will hold it. Will it go 3 wide? Not quite, but they're both going to make a move on Thompson. Thompson to the inside. Hefford pushes wide. Mercer looks for the inside line. Will get something in there. Gets his nose alongside. And a big run there. Almost enough to get him through the gap, which barely existed. Mark Mercer slots his car through a gap, possibly just as long as a Skip Barber race car, in front of Steve Hefford. His eyes flash before his light flash before his eyes there as Josh Thompson gets pushed wide. Hefford will come through. Hefford now no nose cone, I think, from that move by Mercer. I have never, Connery, seen a move that close somehow pay off.
That was an absolutely crazy move. No one in their right mind would have thought that that gap was exactly the length of a Skip Barber car. But Mark Mercer managed to fit his car in, albeit at the expense of Steve Hefford's nose cone. That's how close it was to that instant being very ugly indeed for all drivers involved. And we've got to expect Steve Hefford to now drop a little bit back now because of that major aerodynamic damage to the front of his car, as we see Clark Williams go for the move side by side coming through the final corner.
He does there. Unfortunate for Steve Hefford in that one, but I think that might have been a bit of a glitch going on that front for him, because that looked just about clear enough, but my God, Will, that was breathtaking racing. As up the inside goes Josh Thompson with barely enough room for a car, slapping his wheels off Mark Mercer and slapping the wall of the pit lane. Josh Thompson just bungles it into the center S's there, leaving a line for Mark Mercer. He gets his car through there. It's too wide as they come to Curve de Sol. This is better than the fight for the lead of this motor race here on lap number 9 of 13. This is a dogfight, Will.
This is old school. This is old school Skip Barber racing, where these guys have literally just taken their gloves off. I mean, they're freeway behind them, and one of those cars has absolutely nothing in terms of front aerodynamic grip, but he's still going on for it. That is that number 72 machine there of Steve Hefford, and look at them. They're doing the same thing again on the way up. Look at that. Rachel, this is insane.
This is brilliant, Will, and I tell you what, Connery, the car behind this pack is Paul Thurston. He's had a few points finishes recently. He's managed to finish races. I can guarantee Paul is saying in his cockpit right now, stay behind this, do not get involved, do not get involved, do not get involved, because Paul wants to finish this race, and that pack ahead of him have no such aspirations.
Yep, unless Paul Thurston wants to get his hands dirty and getting involved in this fight, it may be advisable to just stay a little bit behind this one, because it's a matter of millimeters between any 2 cars or any 3 cars at times. It's absolutely crazy. What trust in the other drivers must you have? And the answer to that is going to be a lot to race like that as they head their way through Zhangzhou for the 9th time. There's only a couple of laps to go here, and I think we've got more crazy racing to go as well.
Certainly is, and Josh Thompson's going to make a move here on Mark Mercer as they climb up the hill towards start-finish line. Going to look for the outside this time. Going to try and go round the outside towards 1. Here comes Hefford, and not really doing too badly considering his feet are very cold right now. The car of, I believe that is also Barrington, going to get up there as well. Look at that! Look at how close Hefford and Mercer are. Barrington to the outside, 3 wide. Through goes Mark Mercer. Thompson with the crossover. Beautiful move by Josh Thompson there. Has the inside line, holds it fluid. A bit of a slap there for Mark Mercer. Oh my gosh, this is incredible racing here as the pack forms up. Paul Thurston panics and backs off a little bit as up the inside goes Hefford now. 3 wide behind them. Gonna be nearly 4. No, is it? 3 wide. Again, no room for a move there as they come down towards turn number 4. Oh, they go! Oh my gosh, Mark Mercer, Clark Williams, and Josh Thompson finally pay the price for that incredible racing. As I'm struggling, I need to look at a replay of this one really quickly because they come in. I think Thompson turned across the nose of Mercer. Connery, That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I would say the same. I'd say the same. It's on slow-mo replay there. You can just see that Mercer was turned into, but they were racing so closely, so well, for so long. It's like, I always joke about Skip Barbers being like at Talladega, but you've got to put the trust in the other drivers, but you also know that at points, something just happens, because these guys cannot run picture perfect like that, lap after lap after lap, without making a slight mistake, and that's all it was.
It certainly was, and I can tell you what, Mark Mercer will be happy with his return to Monday Night Skippies. That was phenomenal racing we had there for the majority of this race. We haven't paid a blind bit of notice to the lead pack. In fact, we're going to do that now because they're making a pass here. It's going to be 3 wide, actually, in the run towards turn number 1 for your leaders. Tom Ward, Benny Simonson, Stuart Adcock getting involved in this one now as he's gotten past Gareth Dorning. And the fight is on here as we get into the late laps of this motor race. We've not been paying much attention, but frankly, Connery, they've not been doing anything interesting as they have been at the bottom end of your top 10.
No, exactly. It's fantastic fighting back through the field, and let's see if these guys can do the same. It's side by side coming into the left-hander of the Interlagos. Tom Ward will be on the inside. Will have to force Benny Simonson, and Benny Simonson actually, credit to him, he holds it around the outside here, but he's going to be losing the position, and Stuart Adcock's also going to challenge. Will we see 3 wide coming up to Ferradura? No. Stuart Adcock is just going to lift out of that one. Still side by side for the race lead, though.
It looks like we're getting the action up here we had at the back end of your top 10, Will, at this stage, because now Adcock's decided to stop just riding in line and he wants to get involved in this one. 2 young guns and the old campaigner here, who's just made his way through on Tom Ward with the sneakiest, laziest pass I've seen this entire motor race, but he just happened to somehow be in second.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, with Tom Ward, and I know him, he knows there's still 2 and a bit laps to go. He knows there's some traffic in the way that will just move out the way and they'll run down into Yonsal right now. But Tom Ward doesn't need to be in second place right now. Actually, 3rd place is a good thing for him. So he's not that frustrated just yet. But again, like we talked about earlier, before that battle picked off, Rachel, it now comes down to at what point do you make the move on that final lap of the motor race? Because I don't think in this situation the driver in P2 will win the motor race coming to the line.
Yeah, that's an interesting assessment to make in this stage, and well, Tom Ward wants to be in second right now as they're going to go past the lap car there on the start-finish line. Benny Simonson with a little bit of a gap here over Ward and Adcock, but it's going to be a fairly sedate fashion into turn number 1, this time by Simonson, Ward, Adcock, Dorning, Fraser, Leach, Plumley, Barrington with Hefford and Paul Thurston, your top number 10. Paul Thurston back in the top 10, Connery. That is huge for him. Once again, if he can finish here, that is a huge smile for him as he's now going to be going after Steve Hefford with his breezy toes just up ahead there in that number 72 machine. The Castrol entry, which is probably leaking some oil right about now. That's a bit embarrassing for the sponsors. Up front, though, look at this, side by side there. It is Tom Ward for Friction Racing alongside the Apex machine of Benny Simonson and the UK&I car there of Stuart Adcock wedging his way into this fight. And 3 big dogs all wanting a bite at that same bone.
Yep, they are. It's still going to be side by side between Stuart Adcock and Benny Simonson heading through Ferradura, coming into the right-hander just after. Stuart Adcock still holding the inside line. Now he's going to have to force it around the outside at the Pinarino, and Benny Simonson's still going to stick his car there, still going to be side by side, but actually Benny Simonson's just going to lift out of that one. Maybe he's going to go for the late dive coming down into here, but no, he's just going to back out of that one just for now. Gareth Dorning, you have to remember, he's at the back of this pack, could play a factor coming into the final couple of laps, which we're actually about to go on to the final lap here. White flag out next time by coming into Zhengzhou now.
They're certainly on a good run here by Stuart Adcock on Tom Ward. Will this be a late charge by Adcock to take the lead of this motor race? Benny Simonson can have a good run here, but let's not forget it's always the leader who's the biggest victim in these draft-offs down long straights to the Skippys. Second place doesn't get quite the run on, third doesn't get quite the run on second, as second gets on first. The big wall of air going to be a factor there. Look at this, 3 wide. Simonson between the wall and then Ward, as Ward gets passed on both sides by Stuart Adcock and Benny Simonson. Adcock to the outside for turn 1. Should have the advantage for the second part of the center S's, and he does. He clears them both. Stuart Adcock to the sharp end, on to the final lap here at Interlagos, and it's the run through Curva de Sol for the final time, Will, and this one is on.
It is indeed, as we go on board and have a look at Stuart Adcock, and you know what? Now he's got to play ultra defense. You've got yourself Tom Ward, you've got yourself Simonson, and look, he's lost 1 place, he's lost 2 places already, but I think he might have done that deliberately there, Rachel, as we've got 2/3 of a lap to go.
We certainly do. Climbing up towards Ferradura now, Connery, and it's going to be Simonson, Ward, Adcock, and then Gareth Dorning in 4th place. Oh, a bit of a twitch there between Simonson and Ward as they make some slight contact. 2nd time, 3rd time. Adcock could be in a prime spot here to take advantage of 2 dueling giants as they're going to go side by side now through the 2nd part of that corner, turn 8, down into Pinarino. And it'll be Ward still ahead of Benny Simonson at this point. This is not going to end in too friendly a fashion.
No, it isn't, as they head their way into Bikutapatu for the final time, and he has to be now looking to get the run out of Zhongshao for the race towards the line. It's going to be a drag race, I suspect. I don't think Benny Simonson's going to sling one down the inside of Zhongshao. Neither is Stuart Adcock as he goes very, very deep on the brakes. It's going to be a drag race to the line through the whole of your front pack.
It is, and Adcock messes it up. He runs wide. We'll lose that spot there to Gareth Dorning. Just ran too wide, trying to get the speed. They'll climb, though, up towards the start-finish line. Can Benny Simonson get the run here? Will this be race win number 3 for the Apex Racing UK driver as they'll come through the final sequence, fending off drivers left and right? And it will be Benny Simonson across the line. Benny Simonson, Tom Ward, Gareth Dorning in 3rd. Adcock just misses out as Simonson detonates across the line. What a finish for that race.
3 wide across the line it was, and it was the driver that was in P2 coming out the final corner, ending up taking this race win. We knew it was possible from moves earlier on in this race, but it wasn't a guarantee, and Benny Simpson managed to do it through the middle 3 wide.
He certainly did and will. What a fantastic race we've had today. We've got the rest of the cars just coming across the line now. It's a bit quieter further back in the pack, but my gosh, that was phenomenal racing.
That is exactly what Monday Night Skippys always has been and always will be about there. We did have a little battle down outside your top 20 between Scott Malcolm and I believe that was Ashley Blake Hood, but Malcolm was able to keep hold of that. But again, it came down. I think Adcock lost that motor race down at Yonsao because he just pushed himself too far wide. He put himself out of contention. Otherwise, I think we could have been 4 wide up the line there, Rachel.
Absolutely, with how close it was, of course, there at the end, with how close Adcock was even after his mistake. If he'd have gotten Yongkao right, I think he would have been right in that one. That was a phenomenal race, and I do find it ironic now that in the race chat, Tom Ward is saying, "Damn, Benny, are you planning to win all the races this season?" From the guy who won all the races the last couple of seasons. Yeah, that sounds... yeah, I'll leave that one alone. But either way, folks, we'll be going to a very short ad break. Stay tuned. We're going to have some phenomenal post-race interviews coming up for you in just a few moments' time. So we'll see you on the flip side. Bye.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green.
welcome back to the post-race interviews and show here for Monday Night Skippys on Racespot TV and iRacing Live, brought to you, of course, by Calm. Once again, we're going to go straight to your post-race results for this one. Before we get a chance to talk to two drivers at the moment we've had in today's race, 5th place and 9th place, Robert Plumley and Paul Thurston. But first up, the results. Benny Simonson comes home with a cracking one there in 1st place today, narrowly beating out Tom Ward and Gareth Dorning in 3rd place. Stuart Adcock in 4th, Robert Plumley in 5th, Andrew Ayres-Leach, James Barrington, Brian Loynes, Paul Thurston and Steve Hefford, your top 10. Behind them, Nick Siggy, Neil Bontemps, Simon Maltby, Luke Redgrave, Tim Adcock, recovering from his, missile attack, finishes in 15th from 35th. Vittorio Saltamacchia, Chris Bassett, Matt Cox, Aidan Wenman and Scott Malcolm in 20th. Rest of those results on your screen. And whilst we look at those, we'll go straight to you, Robert Plumley. The 147 car comes home today in 5th place after qualifying in 8th place. That was busy up front.
Yeah, fun race. Had some incidents with Andrew and the other car around us. I forget who it was. Good race all in all. Kept it clean.
You certainly did. You've been having some fantastic results so far this season. Last season you were kind of a solidly mid-pack car, but this time you've found a little something. What is it?
Just stay clear of Steve Hefford.
That seems like a sound reasoning based on today's race, but I wouldn't put it all on him. Obviously, Hefford being a touring car driver, it's a little bit harder for him to realise he has suddenly no wheel arches, but of course, you made the transition fairly well to Skippys.
Just joking, obviously, but yeah, I think I've just put a bit more time into the Skippy this season, so it's all good.
Well, it's certainly showing. Congratulations to you, Rob Plumley. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Just to my teammate Matt Cox. I see he came down in 18th. I think he had a bit of incidents. I'm not sure what happened to you. I heard him talking about getting damage mid-race, so I don't know what happened. But we'll have to talk that one over, see what happened.
Certainly did, of course. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Robert Plumley came home today in 5th place. Next, we will go to, well, I don't know how to say this, but once again, finishing not only in the points, but inside the top 10 this time, El Capitan himself, Paul Thurston.
That's single figures this time.
I know. Well, it's a single digit. You've not seen that in about 40 years.
It's salty. I won one of these once, I'll have you know. Of course, you weren't around then, you lot, basically. Oh, fly-by-nights. Oh, yeah, football started with the Premiership and all that.
Only 4 years ago.
That was great fun. Basically, I think last week, I think it was the result was mostly down to me keeping clean and other people hitting each other and falling off. Today, I was really pleased because it was more down to my actual racing. And certainly at the end there, I mean, I could very easily have ended up like 12th, 13th. Because I had Steve Hefford right on my tail, Nick Sigley right on my tail. There was a little group battling with me mid-race. I don't know if you caught them. There was 6 of us, Mark Mercer at the front of it. And I caught them because they were battling so much. And then they were actually, say they're holding me up, but now of course I'm part of the battle. It's all part of the same thing. And of course the guys behind started catching us. Then coming into the last lap, Steve was right on my tail, and Brian was just a little bit in front. But I knew if I came out the last corner, in touch with Brian, I should be able to hold, keep the draft and hold Steve off, and it worked like that. I was lucky avoiding the crashes as well. But I did actually run an official race this week to try and get a bit of racecraft rather than just practice, which is what I normally do. I'd like to say it worked, but Rubens Barrichello's son took me out on the second lap, and another guy took me out when I was recovering after that. So I only did about 5 laps. So it probably didn't have a great impact on this. But maybe I just used all my bad luck up in that one. But yeah. So wait a minute, how many races have we got this season? Is it another 8? Can I just win one?
There's another 6.
Oh damn! I'll only get up to. Sorry, is this Thunderbird's countdown?
It is, yes. 4.
So in the last race of the season, I should come. I might hit the podium.
Well, we will have our fingers crossed, Paul. Fantastic result yet again from you. Started today in 18th place and climbed half of your starting positions to 9th in the end there. Congratulations to you, Paul Thurston. Next up, we have your teammate Barry West, who started in 32nd and actually managed to make a spot here today. I don't think you crashed into anybody, Barry, but it was a pretty tough race.
It was. Well, I didn't crash into anybody, no, but I did blow my engine in Sunset going into the second lap. I was up to about 24th, 25th, something like that. I was doing quite well, keeping out of trouble. I'm watching the people fall off, and I thought there's points coming here, and then I must have, because I couldn't hear my engine, I must have changed down one gear too much going into Sunset and popped the engine, but it still chugged along, so I managed to drive it back to the pits, leaving smoke everywhere around the track. Didn't cause any trouble, I hope, for nobody, but got back to the pits, and then of course I came out in 45th, I think, and 20 seconds behind the next car, so it's quite a lonely race. And I tried all race to catch somebody up. I was gaining a second a lap, and just as I got up to him, he made a mistake. So that was my fun out the window, but yeah, it's a pity really, but anyway, I'm on holiday for 3 weeks now, so when I come back, I'm going to do much better.
Well, hopefully you certainly will, because you seem to have a lot of fun in these races. It'd be nice to see you actually get some reward from this for once. It's been a tough season so far, but hopefully you'll bounce back.
Yes, I should be in the points. 20ish, round about that is my pace, not doing any of the races in the week, just coming in on Monday and doing them, but hopefully I get some more races in and get out the grid a bit more.
Well, best luck to you, of course. Yeah, best luck to you, Barry. Started today in 32nd, came home 31st place. Well, we'll have some final comments quickly from Connery and Will before we go. Connery, that was bloody marvellous.
Yep, that's one word for it, and it was absolutely brilliant to see what is basically old Monday Night Skippy's backs with the elbows out, the gloves off, and I just want more of the same, please.
Oh, absolutely, and Will, to you, it's been a while since you and me have commentated Monday Night Skippys together, but to see some of those names on that track and to see the racing we saw today, it felt like no time at all had passed. Oh, we certainly do. Monday Night Skippys now with added Mark Mercer. You heard it here first, folks. Well, don't forget, you can join us same time next week. We head to England, to Silverstone for round number 7. So catch us again, 9 o'clock British Summer Time at the home of British Motorsports. I've been Rachel Whiteford. I've been joined by Conor Maddock and Will Vincent today. And don't forget, this is brought to you by Calm, the charity helping to prevent male suicide. Thanks for joining us, folks, and have a great evening.